Welcome to the only daily podcast focusing on compliance news of the day. Each morning, start your day with a cup of coffee and Tom Fox, the voice of compliance, to hear about 4 of the top compliance, corruption, or leadership stories you will need to start your day. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.
First, a word from our sponsor. The Daily Compliance News for January 10, 2024, the Never Again, Yet Again edition. And we begin with that story from Reuters, who reports that Boeing CEO admits mistakes, but says the mid-air blowout can never happen again. So this is one of an ongoing series of problems with the 737 MAX that I've detailed over the years since the original crashes, and of course their corporate governance imbroglio and lawsuits around that issue. But the CEO, Dave Calhoun, publicly acknowledged the company had made mistakes and said that the employees can make sure this never happens again. Well, you know, when you have to say never again, yet again, got a big problem. Next up from the Wall Street Journal, dirty words in the corporate world. Well, ESG might be moving to that, and companies are no longer uttering those letters. They're trying to use other words following years of simmering investor backlash, political pressure, legal threats, magma hat idiots, etc. So the shifting message reflects the reality that ESG is complicated, and things like responsible business are being used to describe corporate initiatives. Of course, magna hat wearing idiots will be against responsible business because it's responsible, and they don't understand that responsible business is good business, and good business is good for the bottom line, just like ESG as a process-oriented approach is good for the bottom line. So it's going to be interesting to see how all of this plays out going forward. Next up, last week we reported that former NRA CEO Wayne LaPierre announced his resignation from the NRA before the start of the New York State's trial against him and the NRA. Well, now we have former top executive Joshua Powell admitted to wrongdoing and agreed to pay $100,000 on the eve of the corruption trial. So it looks like the ducks are starting to fall for the NRA. And our final story comes to us from the New York Times, who reports that alleged corrupt Senator Bob Menendez says not only is he not corrupt, but all of his gold bars, that's a sign of a statesman. Yeah, how about that? Taking Trump to a new level of Trump corruption. Menendez says that the fact he's got all of this money, all of these cars, all of these gold bars, well, he must be a heck of a statesman. And it really speaks to his 30 years of public service. So there you go. Just be a public servant, get a bunch of gold bars, hide them in your house, don't claim them on your taxes, and voila, you're a senator. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network and a proud member of C-Suite Radio. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you'll join me again tomorrow.